Alright, now we're going to start assembling the tail together. First, we're going to assemble, the belt and the center of the boom back by the tail box. I found with my other helicopters, just use this is a stem from a florist. That's just a wire that's normally a stem. Now I'm doing a special edition Aaron Rodgers OXY here, but this is the same setup that you'll have with yours. So yeah, just put her on there and just whoop, pull her through. And now just make note, when you put it back in, there's a little flange edge that goes by your tail out by your tail box. Mine's probably a little bit tighter fit because I got a little extra paint on here. And you slide her in. Your holes will line up. The neat feature about that inner centerpiece is when you clamp down the tail box sides, it don't crush the boom. Okay, so we have that installed. Now let's go to this side. Okay. So next step is actually installing the tail case. I feel this is 2. No, it's 1.5. Put it right there yet. Okay. Let's put on the short side first. Now there is adjustment shims. You can put them on when you know how much side plate you have. In a way we could do that right now, I suppose. Let's just kind of pull this through far enough where it stays. You can pre-fit it like this. I have a lot, but we're not clamped in over here yet either. I'm going to run it without no shims. I can always open it back up and put shims on later. But the shims would go on the side, on this side, right here, for the fine adjustment. I'll start a screw or two here just to hold it in place. Now again, this is where after I get it, you gotta forgive my fumble fingers. I won't turn them in tight. I'm gonna just get them lined up and take care of screwing them later. Now this goes into metal, so this definitely want to Loctite. Oh, wait a minute, one's here. Blue is Loctite. Alright, now that I have it on here, now I haven't tightened up the send case yet. What I'm going to do is check for my lateral play. I'm going to squeeze it tight against the boom. See, I have a little bit of lateral play, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back open, and I'm going to put a shim on this side. I'll put it right down in between the bearing and the pulley. Take up that extra space. Now I'm removing the case to add the shim. Now your extra shims, in case you're wondering, your extra shims are right here in box 2 extra bag hardware. Right there's your little shims. I'm going to be adding one because I did not have much play, but I had play. So I'm going to add one. Alright, that's pretty good right there. I got just enough to make it where I don't wear out my bearings. I can barely feel it move. And I have a little tightening to do on the other end yet. Perfect. One shim did me perfect. Okay, next step. That center block is aluminum, and you do use blue Loctite. So go ahead and blue Loctite that. No, you don't have to wrench down. Let the Loctite do its job. Just snug it up. Pitch slider, and we want to run a little lube on the shaft. On the shaft here you can use lithium grease. I like to use Tri-Flow, so that's what I'm going to end up running. Now again, this pitch slider is all pre-assembled and Loctited. Slide it around, kind of saturate the shaft with this. Get everything nice and lubed. I'll clean that end because we're going to be Loctiting that end. Alright, and next step is the tail blade grips. Again, this is a 1.5 millimeter. Back to see and back to screw off. And you want to have them where when you put this on, you want it located so that the grub screw will line up with that little self-centering pin. And you want the blade grips to read with OXY out. You want blue Loctite it. So kind of line up with the hole. And the hole will pretty much line up with, you know, that positioning hole. It'll pretty much line up with the shaft being even with the end of the grips. Now you want it snug, but you don't want to crank it so hard that you can't get it out when you want to do any maintenance. And go ahead and pop on your arms. It should move nice and free. Now if you grab just one side, it might not, because you know you're only pulling on one side, you might be cocking the bell crank, but yeah, it should move nice and free. It feels good, nice and free. Yep, it's not moving, so it's lined up with the hole. Next step is the bell crank lever. This is another one that you're going to be using blue Loctite on it. It's 1.5. Now these you don't want to really crank down any more than it takes to, you know, absorb any play. You want to let the Loctite do its job. With the lever underneath the boom. Slide on the bell crank. Or yeah, slide on the bell crank, or the pitch slider. Feed it down into the holder. Make sure it's lined up where you can see the screw holes nice. So a little bit of Loctite so you can get it off later for maintenance. Just snug it. Don't need to crank it. Let the Loctite do its job. I know it's real easy to go ahead and crank it down, you know, like, oh, you don't want it to come apart. You could be running high head speeds and everything. Well, if you're applying your Loctite correctly, it will hold. Let it do its job. Okay, I got no play. Smooth as butter. Smooth as butter. Again, this is the special edition OXY, Aaron Rodgers OXY, so your boom will look different. Smooth, smooth. Alright, and we'll be going on to the next step.